that needs to be fed, causing chaos everywhere I land. I got a fever. I got a fever.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug. That's the coach, Jordan Maxson. And behind me, I have this ugly-ass background, the Cincinnati Bengals. I didn't have time to go out and get a jersey, so I'm throwing on the background here. It'll be on for the next couple shows. The Cincinnati Bengals win the battle for Ohio. As much as that sucks, I got to pay up on my bet. Congratulations, Jordan, on your guys' victory. What are your thoughts on this weekend, man? It was a solid weekend. I thought it wasn't a great football game, but it was a solid football game. Ohio State was off this weekend. UC played well. We'll talk about that later in the show. So what are some of your thoughts from the weekend of sports before we really get into the show?
Still a little bit of a downer for the state of Ohio in general. We had the Battle of Ohio. We had our beloved Guardians. We'll touch that on the end of the show. It wasn't the debut that, even it was an exhibition game. Wasn't the UD that I was used to seeing, but a lot of action around the state this weekend. So we're going to dive deep hard, and it's going to be a great one here.
Okay, well, let's get started then, Jordan. Let's kick it off with the battle for Ohio. You guys, I don't know what I really expected. I expected more, I guess, from the Browns with Nick Chubb coming back, with some of the stuff that was happening, and it never really materialized. Nick Chubb did get the rushing touchdown, which I thought was going to, maybe jolt the Browns to potentially scoring an upset.
Thank you,
quick shout out to Coach Fresh. Thanks for tuning in. Who Dey, they finally beat the Browns in Cleveland, of course. It just never materialized after that, Jordan. Watson, he was okay. He wasn't looking downfield before the injury happened. He wasn't really testing your guys' defense. I know he has completed some passes, but it just never felt like we were really threatening you guys with our offense. It was a lot of punting, a lot of ball control by you guys. And then, as the game wears on, the secondary gets worn out. T. Higgins starts making plays. Jamar Chase starts making plays. And that's the game. You only need to score 21 points against the Browns to win. The Browns don't have a threatening offense, and it shows again today, again on Sunday. What did you like most as a Bengals fan from that game?
I like how they started it off, especially with a new dynamic kickoff rule. It was good to see.
That was the difference in the game.
It really was. But for a team that Joe Burrow struggles against, Doug, it was good to see other elements of the game kind of take it off of him some. Because, Joe Burrow still didn't have a great game.
Not at all.
Not at all. But the team was about under 40%, just a hair for third down conversions. Cleveland's defense came as advertised. Zadarius Smith showed up in a couple different ways. They got to Joe pretty much all day. Joe was holding on to the ball a long time. So, hats off to your defense. You got to give credit where credit is due. The secondary, came as advertised. Both receivers for the Bengals complimented your secondary going into this game. They put you guys right up there with the Ravens secondary, saying it was going to be the hardest game defensively against you guys that we've faced all year. So, don't take anything away from the other side of the ball for you guys. But as a Bengals fan, it was good to see the continued battle in the second half where Joe finally found some rhythm. Like you said, Jamar Chase. We used him in a couple run packages, just getting our best players the ball any way possible. So it was good to see the offensive coordinator kind of open up the book a little bit on getting our guys in tuned. But you didn't ask me what I thought was bad, so I'll cut it off there. What did you see good for you guys or for us from a certain standpoint we need to blow up? I couldn't read it.
We need to blow up the stadium, do a voodoo ritual before we rebuild the new one, get rid of the factory of sadness. Coach, I'm totally with you there. Jordan, I don't think you guys played all that well either and still won the game. Like, really, you didn't. Joe Burrow in the second half, played okay. He was 15 to 25, the 2 TDs. We held you guys to 181 passing yards. We held you guys to 59 rushing yards. It just, you guys, you played a really bad offense. And Deshaun Watson, I'm going to take a second here. I know it's been a think piece and everybody's been going on and on about it. Booing a guy when he blows out his Achilles on the field is just kind of garbage. Like, if I understand off the field, he's done some really bad stuff, but sitting there booing, the entire stadium booing as he blows out his Achilles, or cheering, you know what I mean? Cheering that he blew out his Achilles it's too much. It looks fucking terrible for the fans, for the franchise, for everybody. It doesn't make the Browns a destination at all. That stuff has ramifications. Yeah, money talks, but at the same time, if your offers Patriots, 25 million, Browns 20, it just some of that stuff matters. I didn't love it. I thought it was very shitty. Watching that happen, watching him blow out, you could see it happen. You could see the Achilles pop, which was, I don't know if we need to show it that many times if somebody gets hurt again. Once you see it, you kind of know what you saw.
And that's the media though, Doug. They're going to replay that
for sure. It's just,
they did the same thing for Damar Hamlin, but we won't get into that. But it just you hate to see it.
And he was playing okay football, but we weren't threatening you guys. He was 15 to 17 for 128 yards. It was never threatening. And then we bring in DTR. DTR is not an NFL quality quarterback. It was really, really bad when he was in. He completed some passes, and he was a threat in the run game, but he is not an accurate passer. He is a bad decision maker. 2 bad interceptions. We finally bring in Winston. Winston drives us down the field for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. It's all bad in Cleveland right now, Jordan. That's why I called today on social media. I called it Mock Draft Monday, Jordan. It's every Monday through the rest of the season.
I saw the mock draft.
Mock draft Monday. As of right now, I in the mock draft that I did today, Jordan, I had us taking Shedeur Sanders number 3 overall. People are wrong about Shedeur Sanders. Oh, he's going to be a bust. He's the best quarterback in this class right now.
Well,
plain and simple.
There was a little shake up there over the weekend, especially with how Texas played. So I agree with you fully there. That Sanders kind of moved up in my mind.
Ewers, Coach Ewers. Oh my God. The way he looked against Georgia was atrocious.
One bad game doesn't.
It's not the first game. It's not the first time he's played that bad. It's really not. Ewers has not been great this year. He's falling down the board.
But it could be beneficial. I don't think you guys are done in the trade market. I don't think it's going to be some of the extreme names that the media is kind of calling for. But I think you guys are going to squeeze another first rounder in there somewhere. If Cleveland was smart, because you're kind of not to veer off too much from the game, but you're kind of reminiscing of the 2000s Bengals when we held on to the players too long, and that's me criticizing my organization when we held on to Atkins and Dunlap too long to the point where their trade value was nothing, and we got nothing in return for Dunlap essentially, and some of those other pieces and names that we could have moved off the board. But you definitely, if Cleveland was smart right now, if the GM wanted to keep his job, I see you guys being sellers at the deadline, and that's hard to say because I
work on getting more draft picks. I agree.
I love that Cleveland's been successful recently because it's been refreshing in a division. It was something to kind of cheer about over the last couple of seasons because even though it's Cleveland, Cincinnati, I fucking hate Pittsburgh and I fucking hate Baltimore. So the fact that both of our teams kind of, we're still not out of the weeds yet. 3 and 4 is cool, but Philadelphia, we'll talk that on our next show. But it's definitely a place I didn't want to see the Browns. We were high on them in the preseason. I did sing my praises. So those bearded Browns bastards can, hit the replay button. I gave you guys credit where credit was due. It's just a crappy situation that you guys are in, and you just hate to see it, and you hate to see the injury as well. So
yeah,
I'll end on that thought. when it comes to Cleveland. I hope it gets better.
For sure.
DTR did make some awesome plays with his legs. I texted you in the middle of the game. I was actually worried about it when a couple of his option play. I mean, he ran for 40 yards in one drive. So,
but that doesn't mean that doesn't add up to anything. It's just empty yardage at that point. He didn't execute anything out after it. He had 3 rushes for 44 yards, but what did that 34 of that came on one run. So I agree, Coach. We'll have to agree to disagree on that. Quick shout out to Tyler McGurk. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. We appreciate that. I'm also open to taking Cam Ward from Miami. I would take him, and I would take Sanders before I would take Ewers at this point. I don't know. Ewers is just I like the way he carries himself. I like the way he plays. It's just the turnovers and the way he looked against really, really good competition was not great. But let's talk Bengals. Let's talk Bengals.
Bouncing around, and not to transition us slowly, but another name bouncing around. Kyle McCord is somebody we're familiar with. Somebody that I've seen kind of sneak on boards.
It was a good show tonight, guys. It was a good show. Thank you guys for tuning in. What are you, Kyle McCord? What?
I saw that on a couple boards today.
No, you did not. No, you did not. No, you did not. No, you did not. You did not see Kyle McCord getting taken in the top 5. No, you did not.
No, I saw him as a later round for you guys.
What? No. Fuck. No.
I saw skilled positions go, and then Kyle McCord somewhere in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Coach Fresh, if your only concern with Shedeur Sanders is the circus, that's fine. But when you're talking talent for talent, he is just as good, if not better, than every other quarterback in this class. That I understand. If you don't want the rest of it, if you don't like Dion, if you don't like the way they carry themselves, that's perfectly fine. I can get behind that. But talent-wise, you're gonna have a hard-pressed time finding a more talented quarterback in this draft class. Let's talk about your Bengals, though, Jordan.
You don't want another Manziel mess.
He's not. It's not the same. He's not an alcoholic. He's not a druggie. It's not the same thing. Let's talk about your Bengals, Jordan. 3-4 now. You got back-to-back wins. You beat us. You beat the Giants on the road. That's 2 nice wins. The Eagles come to town. We're going to break that down further, Jordan. Let me ask you, your next 3 games, Eagles, Raiders, at Ravens. We're over this next 3-game stretch. We're not going to get into specifics for the Eagles. What is your record after the next 3 games? What do you think you guys go? 1-2, 2-1, 3-0. What is your record against the Eagles, Raiders, and Ravens?
Realistically, I see a 2-1. I just don't see I don't think the defense is capable enough to stop the Ravens. So I see us going in Philadelphia. It's a home game. I think that goes in our favor. 0-3. God bless. I'm so glad you weren't there for the game on Sunday. But no, we missed you, Coach. We wanted you at TJ Chumps. We had a good time. We'll see you at the next gathering. But definitely, I see us 2-1 realistically as an analyst. I see us beating the Eagles because the Eagles are such a hot and cold team. The Eagles got to go on the road.
Yeah.
They're facing a hot Bengals team right now. Their defensive line is good. Not going to take anything away from their pass rush. The Bengals are going to struggle. But at the end of the day, their secondary to me is where the Bengals are going to light them up. If the Bengals can get 10 points ahead, I think they're going to be fine. That allows the Bengals defense. The one good thing we have going for us right now is Trey Hendrickson and a little bit of the
We're not rush. Going for full breakdowns. I want just a record. Okay. We're going to talk about Eagles on Thursday. 2-1.
2-1.
Okay, so 2-1 takes you guys to 5-5. 5-5. You guys are slow starters, but at 5-5, you've really got the rest of the season open to make a move and to get back into contention. I think after the way you guys started, 5-5 would be a win. I think you guys are more than likely going to make a playoff push, but it needs to look better than it did against Cleveland. The Eagles are going to test you guys more. They're going to test your secondary a lot more than we did. A.J. Brown is a talented player. They've got a lot of talented receivers that are going to test you guys. It is going to be an interesting game. I think the Eagles is kind of a gauge of how the rest of the season is going to go for you guys. So I'm very interested in that game.
But the Eagles quarterback play is inconsistent, and I'm willing to bet on that. I'm willing to bet on that.
Sure.
He's inconsistent, Doug. Because one game they'll feed the ball, and the run game will be phenomenal with Saquon Barkley and company, and that's when their passing game opens up. The next game they drop back 45 times, and Barkley maybe touches the ball 9 or 10 times, and that's statistically true. The Eagles' play calling is off the charts, different from one game to another.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I'm willing to bet that their quarterback play is just too inconsistent. And I think that's where the Bengals just get it done.
Okay, that I understand that. I'm okay with that. Jordan, let's transition. Let's talk Guardians here real quick. Season comes to an end. Jordan,
Yes.
It was a tough series against the Yankees. It was high, big market team versus small market team, and it played out. The stars for the Yankees outshine the stars for the Guardians. Judge, Soto, all those guys. What were your final thoughts on the series, and what do you expect from the Guardians next year?
Doug, I'll be quite frank with you. The Guardians beat themselves. We know the Yankees came out and did some great things, and their murderers row. They did what they as advertised. But at the end of the day, you look at the infielding errors, and you take away a couple of those errors, and you don't get to that. They messed up a double play where both runners advanced to second and third, brought on the big hitter. They got the 3-run shot for the Yankees.
Right.
You clean that up, Doug, and you're not facing a big hitter. It's a lot of those little things that really went against the Guardians, and they did it all series long. They made just mistakes you did not see at all in a regular season or even in the first postseason series. So to me, Cleveland kind of beat themselves. I know a lot of people are going to backlash us on that at some point for me saying that, but Cleveland beat themselves. And you look at the way even the pitchers pitched to them, why we're throwing a 98-mile-an-hour fastball right down memory lane in the middle to some of the biggest sluggers in the league. Doug, that's dumb. And I texted some people that were watching the game that were Guardians fans, during all this, and everybody kind of came together to that conclusion. There's no reason. And some of them, they were up in a count, two strikes to 1 ball. Why you're not making them, golf it out is beyond me. So it just looked like mistake baseball left and right for the Guardians. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Yankees, but they almost looked out coached and outmaneuvered, and just a lot of mistakes you don't really want to see in October. And that's what really cost them the series, because other than that, even some of you look at the games. I mean, they all went into a lot of going into extra innings. The Guardians were matching them, hit for hit, home run for home run. But at the end of the day, when you let the Yankees go through the lineup, 2 games in a row, 10 innings or deeper, they're gonna be the Yankees. The murderers row is gonna get you, and that's what happened, Doug. They let a great team hang around longer than they should have, and they paid the price with the series. So I think they're gonna go and probably shore up their pitching staff. They're gonna go find a starter or maybe even 2 if Cleveland's smart.
Right.
And other than that, Doug, the team is kind of fine-tuned. So I wouldn't mess with it too much when it comes to infield and outfield. It's going to be some pitching changes for me. It's going to be maybe finding another closer or a mid-closer. Their closers had a bad series. That doesn't mean you go and gut the team. But, they go and they find another quality starter or 2. And, a mid-closer for the guy that can go, if they got to do an exit 6th or 7th inning guy. And Doug, this team's right back where they need to be. So I think they're going to go make the moves they need to. Their offense is going to take care of itself. No reason to really adjust that or tweak it too much. The infielding, I don't see any age on the group that's concerning to go another, full season, 120 games plus. These guys are ready to make another run. They just got to tweak that bullpen and that starting pitching. What did you see?
I saw inconsistencies in the bats was the main thing. And then execution. The manager, it felt like you said, it felt like they were outmaneuvered by the Yankees in a lot of these games. You get beat 4-1. I think it's a little bit more egregious than just, beating yourself. But there were some times where they definitely were not helping themselves out with with some of these decisions and some of these situations. You can't always rely on the ninth inning comeback to beat a team as good as the Yankees. It just doesn't work that way. And it always felt like they were fighting and crawling and scratching to get back into these games because they didn't execute early through, inning 1 through 6. So that's how it kind of felt like to me in the series. I would like to see them retool the bullpen or the starting pitching. I think you got to go out and try to spend some money and get a guy to come in and help you out. We talked about it probably mid-ish season. They're missing that extra starter. Where's that extra starter who can take the ball after BB, or even if you can get an ace before BB, if you can. I think they lack that a little bit, and it showed in a big series. I expect the Guardians to be back in the mix, though. The Guardians are very, very talented. They're pretty young, top to bottom. This is what you need. You got to tweak some things. You got to bring in a guy, bring in another veteran, bring in a good starting pitcher, and then you go back and you make another run at it. They're not going to all of a sudden break the bank magically and be one of those teams. But, this is you're 3 wins away from the World Series. Build on this and go out and make the moves, similar to what we've talked about with the Reds. They went out, they started by getting Terry Francona. Now, will they add to that? We don't know, but we want the next step. We want to go out and get the outfielder. We want to, solidify the starting pitching. It's very similar with the Guardians, but they're on that next level above the Reds. So great season from the Guardians. Won the Central, got to the AL CS. Great season, but there's got to be a next step for them as an organization. And that's, I think, what we laid out. Jordan, again, great season for those guys. Let's transition, buddy. Let's talk a little bit of Cavs basketball.
Woo.
When the season starts this week, Jordan, I'm a little bit nervous about the season. I know some people are a little bit more confident than I am. What are your thoughts? And then we'll kind of break it down there. What are you expecting this year? What do you want to see from the team this year? How confident are you in this team to make it past a first round series in the playoffs?
I echo a lot of your thoughts, and we shared that. We shared that when the coaching search happened during the Olympics, and we echoed a lot of the same thoughts and feelings. So my stance hasn't really changed too much. I haven't really pivoted on how I feel. We're bringing back essentially the same team, plus or minus a draft pick here or there, or maybe a undrafted free agent. But and that to me, that's not enough for the East, Doug. It wasn't enough in my mind. Now we get this Max Strus, injury. That's a huge blow to the wing play, in my opinion, and even some ball control, because if other guys go down, Max Strus showed that he could kind of play that facilitator role last year when he got casted into it. It still wasn't enough, but he's the guy they relied on for that. So, if other guys go down outside of Strus, I'm a little bit worried, Doug, because, health for the lungs, they're like, oh, they're going to be okay when he comes back. But, we got to get to the point where he comes back on a winning note. So I still think, I stand behind my thoughts that we extended a lot of these guys so we can move contracts at the All-Star break. I still believe that is going to be the Kobe Altman way when it comes to this. So I think we're going to have a completely different team than what we started with. But starting the season, Doug, the schedule doesn't look too bad. We open up against Toronto. I see us getting that night 1 win. We're hearing good things from Darius Garland, at least verbally. He's saying, he wants a comeback tour. He wants to prove everybody that he can play with Donovan Mitchell. So those things are good to hear. But we'll see it in action. The preseason, I know it's a preseason. We went winless. You'd like to see us at least get a win or two there. So we're limping along into the season opener, and we'll just see, if the pace and if the current roster with the new coaching staff is what they think is going to take us there, then they got to show it. Because I still stand strong on, we needed a Brandon Ingram. We needed a big guy that was in the market. Or, we at least needed to bring back Morris from the playoffs, who ended up signing with the Knicks. It's just we didn't make a lot of moves in my mind. So this team has to show me, Douglas, because right now I'm thinking we're a first-round exit. We're going to be there, most certainly. They're this talent. If they make no roster tweaks, we're going to be a playoff contender, no question. There's too much talent, but the talent when you get to the playoff level against New York and Boston, we're just not good enough.
Right. So, and I'll ask you this, Jordan, our first 3 games of the season, obviously we're going to talk about this on Thursday also. We're going to get to recap Toronto. We're going to get to talk about the Detroit, Washington. Jordan, we start the year off at Toronto Wednesday night versus Detroit Friday night at home, Saturday at Washington. Give me your record prediction for those first 3 games.
I think they start 3-0. I think Washington's going to give them the biggest fit. And, rightfully so. Washington's kind of got a younger team. But that's kind of dangerous. In the beginning of the year, younger teams tend to start out more, hit the ground running. But because Cleveland's even done that in the past. But I think they start 3-0.
Okay.
I think we'll see the new pace of Evan Mobley. We'll see how I think the Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, that dynamic, those two, I think just alone with Donovan Mitchell are enough to get us past those 3 games. And the supporting cast is just going to do their thing, hopefully. But 3-0 is where I stand on that. How do you see it?
I think I'm in the same boat. Here's what I would like to see, Jordan, from this season. I would like to see Evan Mobley become our second option on the offense. I would like to see Darius Garland focus more on creating and getting other guys involved. And then when he's open, execute, hit those shots, do that kind of stuff. I would like to see a much more consistent effort in getting Evan Mobley the ball. We saw that in the Boston series. We saw that a little bit in the preseason when everybody was playing. It was very limited minutes. I'm not going to overdo the preseason. I would like to see Evan Mobley become the second option on this team and continue his ascension. If everything we heard this offseason is Evan Mobley, that's all we've heard since he's come to Cleveland. This is the season to put it together, become that second option, take that next leap, become a 20-10 type guy. If something close to that. I'm expecting Evan Mobley to be a 20-10 type guy, and I'm expecting him to be the second option on the Cavs this year. And I'm expecting him to be an all-star this year, Jordan. If that can happen, maybe the Cavs can get out of the first round. I think we are one of 8 teams probably in the East right now that are contending. Those wild card spots cut off right there. I mean, it's going to be a tough season, Jordan. Right now, based on what we've seen, our win-loss prediction is 48.5 games, Jordan. What are your thoughts there? 48.5 games. If you were a bettor, would you go over 48.5 or would you go under 48.5?
I think because you look at the inconsistency of other teams and resting and injuries and things of that nature that are going to happen, because that is the grind of the NBA season. I have us at 50. I have us at 50 wins. So I think I'm 2 games over, or a game and a half over.
So you're taking the over. I would go a slight over also. I think this team is still talented enough in the regular season to win these games and be competitive. I'm just worried about when it slows down in playoff time like it did last year. So, Jordan, it's going to be a fun season, man. We're going to get to talk about our first game of the year on Thursday night. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Cavs basketball's back. We've been missing a little bit of, it's nice to have that like every night type of, we got something to chat about. So excited about Cavs basketball. We both are taking the over. So, that'll be good. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be an interesting season. Max Strus out 6 weeks. How do they replace Max Strus? Is it Isaac Okoro? Is it Dean Wade? Who fills in that small forward spot? It's got to be Dean Wade, right? It's got to be.
It's got to be Dean Wade. I mean, if it was under the old regime, then we would play Okoro.
It would be Isaac Okoro.
Shine, but that's
right.
That's why JB is not there anymore. So I think it's going to be Dean Wade, or it's going to be a wild card. It's going to be somebody young that just springs up on the board, and hopefully we'll see it. Somebody's going to have to step up.
It will be interesting, Jordan, because now that Max Strus is out, we're going to get to see more of the rookie, Jalen Tyson. I would assume he's going to get some more minutes at small forward now. We'll get to see how he meshes with Donovan Mitchell, with Evan Mobley, with Darius Garland, and see how he works in. I think we're going to get to see more of him also. So interesting season. Kenny Atkinson's first year with the Cavs. We both have the over of 49.5 or 48.5. I'm sorry. it's going to be a fun season, Jordan. I'm looking forward to seeing what the offense is going to look like under Kenny Atkinson's. That pace. I'm excited about that next level pace.
Yeah, because
we've talked about so much.
We know what this roster has defensively, and it's all about offensively and starting early. You know, we got buried against the Celtics come out and score 12 points in a row, and we're still scoring 6. So they have to come out early and often. The battling in the fourth quarter and closing the gaps is what killed us the most. So if they can start and be competitive with those high velocity teams, such as like Boston, or even look out west, like the Thunder, stuff like that, Doug, then I'll feel more confident going to the playoffs. But they have to show us. Obviously, the front office thinks they know something that we don't. So it's just a matter of putting pen to paper and just seeing everything in action.
For sure. So exciting week. NBA is back Wednesday night. Cavs versus Toronto in Toronto. We will be watching and we will be talking about that game on Thursday. Jordan, let's transition. UC Bearcats. The UC Bearcats come out.
Yes.
They get a big win in the Big 12 over Arizona State. They are now third in the Big 12. Or sorry, they get a Big 12 win. They are now third in the Big 12. Hey, man, a lot of people did not expect Cincinnati to be in the hunt with all the turnover on the roster, everybody coming in, different things. They're 3-1 in the Big 12. The Big 12 has 3 teams ranked in the top 16. They have it's been a quality conference so far. What are your thoughts on the Bearcats? What are your thoughts on the big win against Arizona State?
Well, I'll go overall. Your first question. Overall, really impressed. I didn't think UC was going to have a resurgence year. I thought it was going to kind of be in between, but they've proven me wrong. They got the running back from Ohio State. They have far better quarterback play than I thought was going to be. He is absolutely balling this year. Really hats off to the offense for that. So Doug, they're right there. It's gonna be fun. That I've circled that Colorado game is gonna tell me everything I need to know about UC and where they're gonna finish in the Big 12. But they just keep finding ways to win. And it starts at the quarterback, but that defense needs some love too, because they're finding ways to get turnovers. They kind of have a bend don't break mentality. They give up some yardage, they give up some chunk plays, but they do really well in the red zone. So that's something that has been quite refreshing this year when it comes to UC Bearcats. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, no, that's well said. They've got quality running backs, Evan Pryor. They've got Kiner, who's kind of their workhorse, and then Pryor comes in with the home run ability. Sorsby from Indiana. It's interesting how well that worked out. Indiana's playing great football in the Big Ten. Sorsby comes to UC. He's on him. He takes over and he's done a great job here. It's been very interesting. They've got big wide receivers that make it tough on corners. They've got a quality tight end. This is a good football team. We get to see them. We're going to talk about it on Thursday. Obviously, they got the big matchup with Colorado. Cincinnati's third in the Big 12. Colorado's fourth in the Big 12. It's right there. Both teams are neck and neck. The winner of this game goes on, and they're going to really have a chance to compete for that Big 12 championship. So it's an exciting game. It's going to be a big game. I'm excited to talk about it on Thursday. I'm just happy for UC because, as much as an Ohio State fan as I am, I'm not against UC. I like to see them succeed, and I like to see them do well. And this has been a fun season to watch them play football, Jordan.
And it's been fun to see him reload because, the coaches have used him as a stepping stone for the last almost decade.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, they finally have a guy that wants to be there. They have a staff that doesn't look like they're just going to jump ship. So in a day, they reloaded through the portal, which was kind of a new concept, the last 2 seasons. So, really hats off to UC for retooling and, making the necessary steps to be competitive. But that Colorado game, we definitely have it circled. We'll chat about it. We got it covered. I'm sure we'll tweet about it between the both of us. But it's going to be fun, Doug. It's going to be really fun to see UC take on Sanders and company.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a hell of a game. Ohio State is also back this weekend with a big game against Nebraska. We've got Bengals versus Eagles. That's going to be fun to talk about on Thursday. We've got Browns. They're playing football this weekend. Whatever happens with those guys. They're playing the Ravens. We got 50 live viewers tonight, Jordan. What else do you want to talk about before we get out of here, buddy?
Finally, FC Cincinnati pulled their head out of their ass. They got a win against Philadelphia on Saturday, 2-1. They now have qualified for the playoffs, so they're in. Really happy to see it. I don't have the terminology for the cup that it's called, so I apologize to our hardcore MLS fans. It's something I've been getting into the last 2 years, but I will get better. But very happy to see, really step up. That was refreshing because they were on I think a 3-game skid before that. So
it was bad.
Happy to see those guys rebound. Team captain, they really controlled the ball. They finally did a couple of those things that they were, when they were on their big winning streak early in the season, in the categories of domination for the world of football or soccer. So happy to see those guys finally, pull one together at the season finale and, go on to the Cup Series. So.
Definitely. That's well said. They finally got the monkey off their back, got a win. You could see it with the manager after his post game. He could see that that kind of monkey getting off his back. He even mentioned we looked like ourselves out there. So definitely a good win for FC Cincinnati. Glad to see them back in the mix and then locking up the spot in the cup. Jordan, we had a good show tonight, 36 minutes. We've got a lot to talk about on Thursday night, a busy show on Thursday night. Ohio State football, UC, Browns, Bengals. What else we got? We've got all kinds of stuff this weekend to talk about. Cavs basketball's back. That's awesome to have. So a lot to talk about on Thursday. I'm excited to be back with you on Thursday, man. Any last words before we hit the road?
No, it's been a great show. We'll dive in a little bit of MAC on Thursday too. It was fun tweeting a couple of their games out this weekend. But our Maction, we love it. I love doing it too, dude. I love the hashtag. I love tweeting out those games every Saturday right before kickoff. I was a little late this week, but it was funner than ever. We had a great weekend here. We did a little bit of Kings Island haunt. It was fun. Got my oldest out on Sunday. She got to watch a little football with me and see me in my happy place, finally getting a win. So it's been a fun weekend. Can't wait to keep it rolling, Doug. So,
definitely.
We got a few announcements in the pipe that we got coming up. We're excited to bring you guys, and we'll just keep it going. So.
100%, guys. This has been Ohio Sports Talk. I'm your host, Doug. That's the coach, Jordan Maxson. Be back with us live Thursday night at 9:15. Loaded show. Cannot wait to bring it to you. We will see you guys then.